Right, so here I am at Thruxton Race Circuit. I've got a track day today. The Subaru that I would normally be driving is currently at AT Auto Services for an underside restoration. So I had to come in the daily, which is no bad thing because I've never actually had a chance to drive this kind of in anger, testing its full capabilities. I traded my Evo 10 FQ 360 for this, which is a Hyundai Kona N. So it's a 4-cylinder, inline 4, turbocharged. It claims to be about 280 horsepower, but I've stuck it on a dyno, and actually on a couple of runs it did over 300. It's got a lot of interesting features, including lots of buttons. Be a bit dark in here, but lots of buttons on the steering wheel, including a big red one, which is what we always like to see. I'll talk about a couple of the modes a bit later, but the most important button is this one, which turns it into N mode, which switches everything to 11. So that's what we'll be doing for the most part. So I'll just rig up this camera somewhere. I've done my sighting laps and go out for a spin, see how we get on. Just take it. This was by far the best camera angle from the ones that I tried on the day. It's always funny taking a car on track for the first time, because you never really know what it's going to be like, as track driving is so very different from road driving. You also, as you can see in this case, never quite know where it's best to mount the camera. As I mentioned, the Kona N has a number of driving modes, which make adjustments to the power, gear change, suspension and exhaust, all electronically. The N mode is optimised for track driving, delivering quick gear changes, maximum throttle response and power delivery, very firm suspension, and a really quite excellent exhaust notes. There is very little turbo lag, especially compared to the 90s technology in the Subaru I'd usually be driving on a track day, and the Kona N gets the power down really well with its clever electronic differential. The one component that let it down on the day were the tyres. The Pirelli P0s, which come as standard on the Kona N, are very odd indeed. They spin up very easily, and as you'll see later, they took a proper beating from the highly abrasive surface of Thruxton race circuits. Now, while spinning tyres is not great for speed and precision, I have to say it is extremely entertaining. As you can see, it's not lacking in power to pass slower moving cars, and the handling is remarkably precise, especially when considering its relative weight and how top heavy it must be, being an SUV, albeit a small one. You'll also notice that for this session I left the gearbox in auto to see how it performed, and honestly it was superb. It probably made better gear selection choices than I did later in the day when I switched to manual mode and shifted gears using the flappy paddles behind the steering wheel. There was a brilliant variety of cars at Thruxton that day. Plenty of race-prepped Clios, quite a few Porsches, including a very nice race-prepped 944 Turbo, and some equally retro vehicles, including both a Mark I and a Mark II Golf, and a Rover Metro, plus a bunch of Caterhams and Caterham-shaped things. Thruxton is a fast circuit, but it's a very forgiving one. There is plenty of runoff on the faster corners, and the curbs aren't too brutal should you find yourself travelling over one. You can hear the poor Pirellis are sounding a little tortured. Even so, I'd assumed they'd survive the day, I usually run Michelin Pilot Sport tyres on my track car, and a single set has survived 3 trips to Thruxton before needing to be changed. Despite the noises they made, the sideways grip was still pretty decent at this point. They were spinning up when accelerating out of the corners, but they still turned in pretty reliably. As you can see, when I went to get fuel, I took a look at the front tyres and realised they weren't looking too great. The left was nearly bald on the outside, and the right had several areas where the tread was shredded. Knowing that I had to drive home at the end of the day, I decided to take it easy in the afternoon sessions to save some tyre for my tuition slot at 4 PM. Whilst I didn't film much more on the GoPro, I realised the Dashcam had been running all day long and had captured some great clips, so here's a selection in classic medley format. There weren't too many red flags throughout the day, and as far as I'm aware, no vehicles were harmed. However, there were a couple of good spins, including this well-sorted Honda Integra and later a BMW. The Evo flying up behind here was very nice indeed. The owner had only recently got it, and it was a very clean Japanese import. As you can see, they only discovered on the day that it still had the Japanese 110 mph speed limiter fitted. I'd be lying if I didn't say that as a former Evo owner, I was very pleased that the Kona was able to do itself justice in the presence of such vehicular royalty. It really is an amazing piece of machinery, and now that I have a full set of Michelin Pilot Sport 5s fitted, it's even better. I really want to take it to another track day.